Good morning, Elina. Thank you very much for being present here at the Fun and Serious Game Festival, even if it's in a remote capacity.
Festival. Happy to be here, or at least remotely.
Yeah, well, thank you for opening us a window to your house or to your office, and I won't take any more time from your time. So I give you the floor. Thank you very much, Elina.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi all. Let me share my screen. And I think you can see, yes. So, hi, I'm Elina, and we're going to talk together about games and Kickstarter, crowdfunding, and see probably the fun and serious aspects of them. And you will probably ask, okay, there's a fun aspect in crowdfunding. Let's see if I can persuade you about this. So a few words about me. I'm Elina, and like most of you guys, I'm wearing a lot of hats. Okay, it's almost Christmas, so I thought it's a Santa Claus hat. It's more representative, more appropriate for this time of year. So I'm postdoctoral researcher in Athens, doing my research in game production, in video game production. So I'm interested in what kind of games we are producing in Greece, under which circumstances, all these really tough questions you can pose to a developer. Also, I'm a business developer and narrative designer for Pixel Rain, a video game studio based in Athens also. Now we're also developing our second title called Dark First Rogue, an FPS roguelike sci-fi games, and really excited about that. And of course, over the last 2 years, I'm working as a games consultant and community outreach for Kickstarter in Europe. I'm part of the Team Europe, working closely with Michael Liebe, who is responsible for the games in Europe. And my interest, of course, is on video games, video games specifically, and I have an eye on animation. I have a personal interest. So I'm working about games, for games, with games over the last decade at least, from different roles. And what have gained are insights about how these different branches of the game industry works or doesn't work together. And what is really clear for me was from the beginning was really clear for me is that Greece was really known for many things. For example, for food, of course, and wine, and beaches, and sun, and archaeological sites, and history and mythology. And I think Zorba's reference is always, is still living out there. Of course, this is the good connotations, but nobody talks or knows about, or almost nobody knows about video games and creativity in Greece. And this is too bad because like many small countries, Greece has a thrived community of creators, of developers who are with small and biggest studios and teams creating video games. So when I was working with the Greek government over 2015 and 2019, we're working to support the local video game industry, community maybe, probably, through national delegations and creating financial tools for the game development. We also organized Athens Games Festival, a B2B event, just like Fun and Serious Festival, because I have to say that these big events on your country and your city is really important to support. Really important to support the local community. So Michael was there talking about Kickstarter, talking about crowdfunding, working and talking with our creators. And I have to say that back then in 2018, Greece were not among the eligible countries for Kickstarting. And that was a problem, especially for the small developers, because if you were a developer or a game creator in Greece and you wanted to launch a Kickstarter campaign, you had to find a partner or a collaborator abroad. And that for big studios or tabletop creators, the big tabletop creators was perfectly fine. But for a small indie developer, that was a huge deal because either they didn't know how to do that, either didn't have the networks, either it was too much of a fuss for them. So I got many requests, many people reaching out and saying, Elina, yeah, that would be an awesome tool for us. So like in 2019, Michael reached out and told me, yeah, good news. Greece among the countries that are going to be eligible for Kickstarter with Poland and Slovenia. And we started working together since October 2020 and prepare Greece, the launch of Greece in Kickstarter. And to tell you the truth, I had really high expectations. I thought that it would be a really good, great opportunity, especially for indie developers. Get away a way to find another way to fund their projects. And I think my expectations got justified. From 2020 to 2021, Greece managed to raise more than $2.5 million. And this is a huge number for Greece for like almost 2 years. And we had really cool projects running on Kickstarter, got funded. And of course, not only got funded, but also find their own community. And the other part, the other side of this coin was that there was a lot of companies, a lot of studios that were running in different countries outside Greece. But because they were repeated creators and now Greece was, they could run their campaign from Greece, they decided to return their base here. So this is all good news for a local market and of course for Greece as a community of creators. But I told you that crowdfunding is fun and serious, so let's see how that goes. And let's dig into some numbers and see the serious aspect first, which I think most of you are more familiar. So games in Kickstarter is one of the biggest categories, which means that in a lifetime gathered to raise more than $1.5 billion from 4.5 million backers, which means, and this is I think most important for me because it means that there's 4.5 million people there searching and trying to find interested and supporting games. And I think this is the most important aspect for a creator because when you're participating to a platform, either it's a digital platform or a crowdfunding platform, you want people to live there, to support there, to go to log in and trying to find projects. If you don't have people engaging with the platform, then you don't have your probability of success is really low. So 4.5 million people searching for games is a really good number, I think. And what is also really interesting and really important for me that over the last few years, we have an increase of backers, specifically interest for video games. We have an increase in backers of an increase of almost 30%, which means that more and more people that are interested on video games are entering, log into Kickstarter and searching for their next favorite game. But let's see how Spain is going in Kickstarter. And we have seen really cool projects, of course. We had Monster Prom with more than 500K, Blasphemous with more than 300K. Narita Boys was a futuristic pixel art game. And if I remember correctly, we worked closely with this creator, which managed to successfully got funded and managed to gather more than 100K. But what is more interesting about the case of Spain is that had a really cool, really awesome run over the 5 years with more than 45.7 projects, which mean a lot of people, more and more people trusted Kickstarter and crowdfunding as a procedure to fund their projects, with 50% more backers, which mean all the previous project managed to gather their community and make them become the supporters. And you had 100% successful project, which is a really great number. So well done, Spain. And of course, you were asked when you are running a Kickstarter campaign, it's not only about your country, of course. You have to think and aim to other countries like USA, of course, and Poland and UK and France. But when you launch your campaign, it's your local community that is going to be your first backers. It's where your first support and your baseline will be. So 50% more backers from Spain means that this project managed to gather their community. But also I talked about fun. So let me introduce you Bernie de Koven. Bernie de Koven is a theoretician about games. He's the one who coined the term deep fun, talking about games playing or creating games as a meaningful experience. He's the one who's trying to list it all the different kinds of fun. And if I'm not mistaken, he gathered like 54 shades of fun, as he said. So Benny told us, of course, that makes something fun enough, like a game that will be fun enough. Of course, it's a meaningful experience and rewarding. And this is okay. This is known, of course. But what he pointed out is that the designer puts the foundation over the shell of fun, but it's the players that produce and give meaning to the entire experience. And if we think about it, what is a game without players? If we have like a really cool game and nobody plays it, it's like it's half the experience that could be produced didn't happen at all. So it's like players and the game are part of the entire system of a system of experience, a system of play, a system of fun. So from this thinking of what Bernie de Koven talked about fun and games, we can say that Kickstarter and crowdfunding in general is about community. It's about all these people that before your game, during the game, and after your game are going to engage with you, talk to you, and reach out, talking to you about your project. And this kind of interaction can take really different forms. They can be like happy sentiments about receiving your game or congratulate you about an awesome effort. But also there are a lot of people out there who are going to talk to you, ask you questions about future references, about how to maybe improve your game, or if you could add or remove some aspect or some elements of your game. And this is really, really important because like Michael used to say, it's like it's a proof of concept. You have make a game and your family, your friends like it, your girlfriend and your boyfriend likes it. But the tough question is if this game is a game that many people will love it, many people will like it, many people will embrace it. So when you start a Kickstarter campaign, you start engaging with people and you receive this kind of proof of concept. It's like your game deserves our attention and deserves our love. And this is an ongoing conversation with your crowd, with your people, with your community. So in a way, crowdfunding is creative fun because it has this kind of engagement with your community. You have to try and reach out and gain your community's attention and love. Here, of course, what will they have to say? And this is on you if you are if you want and you are willing to understand and hear what they have to say about your game. And of course, if you want to implement it in your game. So both of you you can co-create something that is really unique because during a crowdfunding campaign, your community and your backers becomes part of your project. So let's see a few things about crowdfunding in general, and hopefully, because we're talking a lot with creators, unexperienced or even experienced, and and there are a lot of people that just think that they can create a online page on Kickstarter on a crowdfunding platform. They can sit on their couch and money will go run to them, and this is not happening at all. Of course, we are in a digital age. You know how digital products and digital distribution works. You know how many games are out there each day, so you have to try, really try. So let's see what crowdfunding means actually. So there are projects that they want to go like launching campaign in order to cover part of their production. There are projects that they have only a concept and some really, really early prototypes, and they want, of course, funding in order to proceed and fulfill their projects. There are other projects that want to cover, for example, post-production costs. So at the end of the day, it depends on you. What are your true needs? Gather your community is one of the basic advice that I can give you, and create a pool before you launch. You cannot launch, and please do not launch a campaign before you gather your community. You have to talk with your friends, talk with your networks, talk with your gather people from all your social media and newsletters and Steam and whatever, and gather and guide them to your Kickstarter page or your crowdfund page. Because when you launch, you want to have a specific pool of people that you are almost certain that will support you and back your project. And this is important for your success rate. Combine crowdfunding with other financial schemes. This is also, I think, important. We all know how difficult it is to fund your game, specifically for video games. Okay, the choices are really specifically there. For example, you can go state funding, Creative Europe or other European programs. Find a private funding like Angels or something like that, or you can find a publishing deal to get your productions cost covered. But you can do all this with crowdfunding, and specifically with some of the, for example, specifically for state funding, which at least for Greece can cover until 50% of your production. Launching a Kickstarter campaign means that you can cover the rest of the 50% of your production, which I think is really cool for an indie studio. Expose yourself as a creator and get instant feedback goes with the old creative fund that I mentioned before, and become part of a community of creators and gain insights, new collaboration, networking opportunities. Become a backer yourself and experience the whole procedure in reverse. This is kind of reverse engineering. It's like understanding and feel what crowdfunding means on the other side, being a backer, as being this supporter. So you can see how all this works on the other side. And of course, supporting other projects means that you actually care. Kickstarter is part of a community of people that it is like you. They're searching for new collaborations, searching for advices, want to get their project out there and be visible. So be open to talk with all these people and create, of course, create a network and be part of this network is highly important. And to tell you the truth, we from the Outreach Games group, part of our work is to sustain this kind of community through different kind of means, creating online events for our community, contents, and keep an open communication with them for whatever they need. So you can find different, of course, there are different kind of crowdfunding platforms that runs on in different ways. Specifically about Kickstarter, you can say that it's project-based, which means you cannot find you don't go out there and find partner for your company, but the concept is that you have a specific project, a game, and you are searching for support for this specific game. It's not a donation based. Like, it doesn't mean that I, for example, as a backer, will give you the money to and hopefully see your project fulfilled. It's reward based, which means that I back your project, I expect something for the creator, something from you. And this something can be whatever you want. Hopefully it will be something exclusively created for your Kickstarter campaign, because it adds value when the backer sees something that will not find in the market, won't find anywhere else, but only on your campaign page. And it's all or nothing, which means you set a specific funding goal and you get funding only when you reach this specific goal. So you set a specific baseline and you have to succeed on that in order to get your money, to get your project funded. So you decided to run a campaign. Let's provide you some tips about that. And the first and most important is the homework that you have to do. Of course, you have to first learn how crowdfunding works in generally. Okay, crowdfunding is specifically it's part of our digital life, and you have to understand how this works. How Kickstarter, of course, works. It's a digital platform. It's really important to understand how Kickstarter specifically works. Talk to other creators or the outreach team and search for advice. There are a lot of questions that are common to creators, like when it's the best day to launch, or what periods to avoid, or what is more appealing to your page. And these are and you can talk to people and of course talk to us and discuss with you what's your game and what's your needs, what's your specific needs, and give you advice about your about how to take this kind of decisions. For example, best day to launch, we could say that choose a working day, please, not a weekend, not a Friday. Choose a day that has a lot of the week is in front of you, because most people tend to back project during working days on their computer. During weekends, they are out there with their friends, with their families, away of their computer. They don't care to back your project. So choose a day like Tuesday is a good day, or maybe Wednesday. Monday, okay, it's cranky Mondays. You understand. So choose the appropriate day that will give you the best launch. What periods to avoid? Please avoid Christmas. Please avoid Thanksgiving, all the holidays, because again, people are away from the computer. They're outside. They're with friends and families. Um, Traditionally, mid July and August are a bit difficult to launch because everybody are on vacation, are not interested also in projects, and Christmas are a bit difficult December, because of course you have a lot of expensive. You have to think about what you will do, what you expect for Christmas. So your pocket is you're thinking more of your pocket. It's a stressful, kind of stressful, financially stressful time. Uh, but this is important decision that you have to make. So you have to make all these important questions, and when you don't have the answer, please talk to us or talk to other creators. Let your audience what you would expect, how to approach them. Of course, this is something you have already done for your project. Um, Try to find where your audience is, even if it's a niche market that you are addressing to. There are Facebook groups, for example, that are there are for people that loves RPG, for people that loves art games. Go and find them and truly engage with them, become part of them, so they can trust you, and you can become part of their community and bring this community to your project. Make a draft of your page, start thinking your costs and dust your tiers, set up your account. This is part of your homework. You have to start drafting your page, make all this setup. Of course, there's a period, and you have to understand that you will need a few days to set up your account, and start thinking your costs. What are your costs, and how your tiers and your rewards will be organized around them, and decide, of course, when you want to launch. Design your page is really important. Your page is your pitch deck, is your window to the world, so it definitely needs your full attention. So the first thing that you have to think about is your narrative. Everything is a narrative around us. For example, my presentation has a specific narrative. I began from myself, from my course in the video game industry, and how that drive guide me to this Kickstarter collaboration, of course, and now to this to Fun and Serious Festival. So think about what is your story, what is your narrative, and what your most strong parts of strong. Your strong sorry selling parts of your game, and of course talk about yourself as a creator. Talk about your team, because many of your backers wants to support specific creators because they can see something in them. So don't be afraid to talk about yourself. Use the visual language instead of text. Creating a page that is visually interesting and engaging, creating using GIFs and pictures, it's really important because it makes really easy for the backer to scroll down and understand what's about. So after he choose your project, he can go and dig into to all the details. But it first and above all, he needs some really interesting visuals. Um, Video, of course, the video is really important. It's a central video of your campaign. Don't be afraid also to present not only your idea, but also yourselves, and try to be creative and find fun ways to communicate. Because of course, when, for example, you want to say, yes, thank you for your support, thank you for being there for us, you can just post a message. Go a bit further and create something that will make a backer smile, because when you make a backer smile, the smile, it's like a snowball effect. One smile from a backer means a shout out to his Facebook page, and through his Facebook page, that can bring even more backers. So be creative and be honest, of course, and have a created campaign that is honest and transparent, because many of your backers inside Kickstarter are not, it's not their first time. They have backed a lot of projects. They want to find really original stuff to support. So they can understand if someone is trying to, is not really, it's not really honest with them. So try to be open, engaged, and honest to your backers. And before you launch your campaign, you have to figure out what you have to pre-launch. Of course, you have to you have the pre-launch campaign, which means you have a specific page on Kickstarter with a button says support me and notify me on launch, in which you start to gathering your supporters. And this is really important because you cannot launch, and please do not launch a campaign before you gather a lot of supporters, that you feel comfortable and confident that with these supporters you can have your project funded. So we can say that it's a minimum of 3 months work and job before you launch your campaign, and this is really important for your project and for your success rates. Running campaign that suits your needs. This is also really important because it has to do with your funding goal. See what's your cost, what's your funding goal has to be in terms of capability, of course, in terms of costs, in which amount you will be really satisfied, how much is your community so that you can get funded, of course, and how much time you are going to run your campaign. An average campaign runs for 30 to 40 days, and I wouldn't advise anyone to run it even further, except of course it's a specific project that it doesn't matter. But running campaigns is a full-time job, and you have to understand that you have to be there talking to people and respond and solve problems and be actually there. So 30 days, 40 days, I think is more than enough. And as we said again and again, you have to engage with your audience. You can see that this awesome campaign had like more than 30,000 comments and 74 updates, which means that's an ongoing huge dialogue with people. And this kind of engagement can take different forms, not only talking to people, but why not creating several events, community events that will increase your engagement, like streaming, of course. Come here, join us and learn and talk to the creators, or even fan art contests, something that will make people log in again to your project and see what's going on and talk to their friends, etc. And of course, to remember to breathe. Kickstarter and Genka crowdfunding, and generally crowdfunding is takes time. It needs your strength. It's tight, but I think it's really rewarding. So thank you very much. And of course, don't hesitate to contact us if you have any project, you have an idea. I'll be happy to talk to you about that and give you some advice on how to make your campaign fantastic crowdfunding project. Thank you.